We are continuing our coverage into the Synagogue stabbing, and in the wake of that crime over the weekend at a Rockland County synagogue, Rockland County officials have developed a plan to increase security in the area. They're holding a press conference right now at the county executive's office. Let's listen in.
He is fully apprised and aware of what we're looking to do right now, and he agrees 1,000%. I have also with me my Chief of Staff, Mike Hoblin, my Chief Advisor, Dan Moscato, and am I missing anybody here? Steve Liebman of the Journal News. Anyway, we go back about 25 years, Steve.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right, anyway, down to business. Look, we've had some very troubling and trying times here of late here in Rockland County. And, you know, while some will go out there and offer a lot of words and oratory, this administration believes in action aimed at identifying problems that we encounter. The hallmark of that action started the evening of the event, where obviously I immediately reached out to Sheriff Falco, made sure that he had all the resources county government could provide for him to address the issue that was unfolding on Forshey Road that night. I want to acknowledge all of our first responders, volunteers in particular, our EMS, our law enforcement personnel, who worked very rapidly to identify the suspect in the crime and brought him back to Rockland County. Today we're here to look at an option that is a bit of outside the box. Government often doesn't think beyond the tip of its nose. Here in Rockland County, I'm blessed with a number of people who I know from my past lives, most primarily in law enforcement. Today we have the CEO of Brosnan Risk Consultants, Patrick Brosnan. He is here with some of the professionals from his team, and they are going to be lending assistance of the private sector to augment the efforts being done by municipal law enforcement personnel in order to assure a number of things. Most importantly, that there are plenty of resources available to make sure that the people of Rockland, and particularly in the Orthodox Jewish community who this is affected, are being tended to, can have some sense of peace of mind, so that they can believe that, yes, the government, whether it be the town or the county, is going to leave no stone unturned in order to do whatever has to be done to deal with whatever issues they encounter. And I know many people have come up with a number of potential possibilities of the motivation here. Frankly, at this juncture for us, the important issue is that that investigation is ongoing, so they get to the bottom of exactly what occurred, so they can have the best case possible in court should it go that way. Also, the fact that the people in the community feel that the issues that they are concerned about, whether in founded fear or not, are being effectively addressed by people in government. So with that, I have a gentleman here, Patrick Brosnan. Pat and I go back to the NYPD detectives for a number of years. He has the company Brosnan Risk Consultants. He is the CEO of the organization. And there's an offer to supply resources to augment the effort of maximizing the protection for the community in need. So I'd like to have Pat speak about that, and in particular, speak about the professionals that he has brought on board. And I think most he'll be very impressed. And again, this may be a point of some solace for the people of Rockland County when they hear exactly the resources we're bringing to bear in protection and service to them. Patrick?
Thanks, Ed. Pleasure. Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Myself and Ed go back to the NYPD days in the rock and roll 80s and 90s. We were there for the opening day of crack, like Major League Baseball. It was right around the High Holy Day, St. Patrick's, in '85. And since then, we've remained good friends. And I am both proud and honored to be able to assist the County of Rockland, where I reside and have resided and raised my family for 25 years. I live approximately 8 minutes from the scene of the crime. So I am personally deeply disturbed at this cowardly act and this disgusting, reprehensible cancer that I've seen in recent weeks in Rockland on at least 13 occasions, where there's been such an uptick in vile acts of anti-Semitism that I spoke to my team, and we have a very, very serious team, and we decided to step up and provide immediately, as of yesterday afternoon, an armed security patrol comprised of off-duty or retired FBI agents, state police, and NYPD detectives who are highly conditioned and highly trained to help to minimize a reoccurrence of this horrible event. So before I begin, I first want to salute the outstanding courage of the congregants of Rabbi Rottenberg's shul. They fought back. They fought back in the face of evil. They didn't have guns. They didn't have training. They threw furniture at them. They threw furniture at this guy. They threw a coffee table at him. That is the spirit. That is what is the spirit here. You have to fight back. I'm not saying anyone should put themselves at risk, but you can't just be mowed down. You can't be chopped down. You have to step up. You have to look at this evil in the face. You have to step up. There's not enough law enforcement out there. We're not everywhere all the time, whether private or government. It goes back to see something and say something. I would add another set of verbs. I would add do something. And yesterday you saw it. You saw it yesterday, and it works. It works. This guy fled like the coward he was, and the coward he remains, in the face of elderly congregants, some of them, not all, who were armed with nothing less than pieces of furniture. So I salute them. I salute them directly, as does my team. We're neighbors in this great county, and we are united to help battle this terrible cancer, this hatred, this bigotry, this terrorism. Let's be crystal clear on what that means. So terrorism, it's bandied about everywhere. It's modified with various adjectives. It's domestic terrorism, it's international terrorism, it's this. This is a terroristic act. And when the facts are uncovered, when we peel back the onion and get to the piece that no one eats of this guy's life, we will learn. We will learn through a meticulous examination of all his records, all the stuff that you hear about on television, read about in the paper. They will align, all those facts will align, and I am willing to bet that there is an ulterior motive that we do not know today. I don't want to get in front of the investigation, but we will learn that for someone to get in their personal vehicle, take a weapon, drive south to 47 Fourchet Road, a personal residence, not an iconic building, not something that's known, not the Jewish Museum, not a synagogue, and go in there on Hanukkah, during prayer, during Hanukkah, and try to murder a number of people. I will posit the position that there is facts behind this. There are facts swirling in the background that we do not know at this time. And that'll be determined by the likes of my team and their colleagues who are actively working in government now. And I have tremendous faith in the men and women of law enforcement, both state, local, and federal, and that they will bring the facts forth and uncover what the motivation was for this. And that motivation will inform us. That'll help us. It's always helpful, because that will inform us to the extent that we'll be able to prepare strategies and to implement strategies that will minimize reoccurrence. Never going to solve it completely, ladies and gentlemen, but you can minimize reoccurrence. So, in connection with my team, we have decided to provide this armed patrol until further notice, until we determine at which time. I can't say. Could be a month, could be 6 months. Free of charge. We'll volunteer our services around the clock. We're going to protect the neighbors. I live 8 minutes away, raise my kids here, my colleagues, my team. We all live in the county by and large, and we support the county. It's a great county. And under Ed Day's leadership, it's only going on to greater things. And he's doing amazing stuff with the county. And this is not the direction we want to go in. So to that point, we're confident, again, working with the extraordinary men and women of law enforcement, that we can help. So how do we help? Do we put big guys in big trucks with big guns? Is that how we do it? No. We're a technology-infused intelligence company. We leverage technology. We leverage technology with data. We leverage the data with labor, and we wrap it in a process. And that's called smart security. And that's where we're in the lead. God bless you. That's where we're in the lead, and that's where intelligence coupled with labor, infused with data, we can help. We can help here, and we will help here, and we're going to. We're going to keep a very, very close eye on that. I'd like to introduce a couple of my team members. To my right is Brian Parman. Brian Parman recently joined our team. Brian was the head of counterterrorism for the FBI. He was a special agent in charge of the FBI's Counterterrorism Bureau in New York City, as well as the head of the Joint Terrorist Task Force in New York City. Been with the FBI for 23 years. He is a distinguished expert on all things terroristic. He has recently joined the Rockland Risk Consultants. We're proud to have him on the team. He's an extraordinary adjunct to us in our fight against terrorism. And we salute what you've done, Brian, and we really appreciate you stepping up with the team. To Brian's right is Michael Palladino. Michael Palladino, you may recognize, he's in the press a lot. He's the head of the Detectives Endowment Association in New York, 20,000 members, second largest union, police union in America. Mike has recently joined our team, and he's another extraordinary member. My left, the big fella, is Eric White. Eric White comes out of law enforcement as well. Eric White oversees all our national contacts in law enforcement through a range of various fraternities, police unions, and other law enforcement contacts that tie us together so we have a national presence and the ability to navigate through various federal, state, and law enforcement contacts to help move our program forward. So with that, I'm just going to ask Brian, if you don't mind, if you could step up and give us an assessment of what you know.
Yes, sir. It's an honor to be here today. Thanks to Commissioner Day and Sheriff Falco. First off, I'd like to say that our thoughts and prayers are with the victims of this horrible crime. That is where our mind goes first. And secondly, I know that out there in the community, there's a lot of apprehension, a lot of fear, because today, in our troubled times, too often, people want to make a statement about their social, religious, or political agenda with weapons and not with words. It's our opinion that the most effective weapon against crime is cooperation and collaboration of not only public and private community, and we're happy to be a part of that effort, making sure that the community we live in, the community we work in, the community that we have put down roots in, that we're a part of the solution. I'm very, very happy to be with Rockland Risk Consultants. I'm very, very happy that we're able to join with the efforts of our local, state, and federal authorities to help prevent this tragedy or tragedies like this from occurring in the future. I'd like to recognize the people that did something that night in the face of tragic occurrence. I'd like to recognize our brave first responders and law enforcement officials, and I'd like to thank the community leadership at the local, state, and federal level for what they're doing. And thank you all, for the media, for being here today, because you are the voice and how it gets out to the public and informing them about seeing something, saying something, so that the authorities can do something is where we're at in today's world. Thank you very much, and I'll turn it back over to Mr. Day.
Okay, I'm just going to close with one comment. Pat mentioned earlier about fighting back. People fought back. And what I'm saying here to everybody now, and I'm glad it was mentioned by Brian that the media is here, we are fighting back. As a community, as a county, we are fighting back. Regardless of what the motivations are, regardless of what the investigations reveal, the fact of the matter is we cannot sit around and do nothing. So we are taking proactive action in order to address the concerns, the fears that are out there. And again, I want to thank Rockland Risk Consultants and Pat and his team for volunteering to do this. It talks about what Rockland is truly about. These are all Rocklanders who saw what happened in Rockland, and they know what the true heart of this community is. And they are disgusted by what's happened. They are angry about what happened. And they are going to do something to ensure it does not happen again. So with that, we'll take any questions if anybody has any.
I'm taking this particular shul, is it your belief that it is still at greater risk even after the arrest of a suspect?
We believe that what's been going on here, regardless of motivation, is concerning to the community. Part of effective security and law enforcement is to ensure that the people who you are protecting feel protected. So a good amount of this is to deploy resources to address what clearly is becoming a problem.
Mr. Day, why is this not a job for your local sheriff's department?
It is a job for a local sheriff's department. This is called an added resource for our sheriff's department to use. I had a long conversation with Sheriff Falco. He's a forward thinker. He understands the challenges of law enforcement and the limitations of law enforcement. I do too, obviously, with a background in law enforcement myself. So at the end of the day, this is an offer of assistance by a private firm, and he embraces that also.
Can you talk more, either of the two of you, about, I mean, you mentioned that this is the intersection of technology, data, and labor. What does that look like on the ground? What is this? What are we actually going to end up seeing?
Sure, thank you.
And then I'll follow up with my neighbor.
Sure, thank you, and thank you, Ed. So, by the way, it is a public-private sector relationship, and we've done it in Rockland in the past when there was an uptick in home invasions a few years back in Orange County. So it's not our first rodeo in regards to that, not to diminish it in any way. So to answer your question, sir, what we're doing at Brosnan Risk Consultants as it relates to mitigating risk for clients is we've taken the intersection, or rather the fusion, of labor, your traditional security officer, whether armed or unarmed. We give them the tools, we give them the technological tools, we give them a process, we provide them data, and then we wrap it into a solution. So what does that mean? Sounds like a lot of fancy words. We have a 24/7 National Command Center 4 miles from here. It looks like something out of NASA. It's manned by 27 people, 11 around the clock, 16 on the 4 to 12, 27 on a day tour. What are they doing? They're watching everything all the time in the various states that we operate in. We operate in 41 states at 1,700 locations with 5,400 officers. That's every day, Christmas, July 4th, and a blizzard in February. We're keeping an eye. We have a thumb on the pulse of crime. So we have algorithms. We have really smart folks that work with us that have devised algorithms where we input keywords. In this case, for instance, I won't speak to this case because this case is still an open case. But in any ongoing matter, we'll say with bank stick-ups, for instance, we monitor a lot of banks. We make sure that we have information if there's a robbery of a bank on 42nd Street and 8th Avenue, up on 82nd and 2nd, the officers working there have information related to that, but we get it through social media. We capture it, we disseminate it into the proprietary phones of 5,000 officers, so they have situational awareness. They, in effect, have eyes not just in the back of their heads, they have eyes in the sides of their heads. And they're out there with an enterprise behind them, an operating enterprise, an engine that provides intelligence that allows them to make better decisions, faster and smarter. And that's a really big deal. And we've seen the proof is in the pudding. It really works.
So we'll see security officers on the ground better connected to digital resources.
On the one level, but it also provides them with minute-by-minute operational intelligence of what's happening outside their line of vision. Everything that's happening outside their line of vision. So for instance, if say they were protecting a location up here in New City and there was a suspicious package 2 blocks away, the officers wouldn't know that there might be a bomb, suspicious package 2 blocks away. We would receive that information because one of the keywords is a bomb. Some millennial will tweet it invariably, bet the farm on it. We capture the tweet, we assess it for validity, and we dispense it instantaneously. And it goes in and it informs the officer, and then he makes decisions. He redirects pedestrian traffic, he closes ingress or egress locations, he does stuff. What does he do? He makes smart decisions. That's the future. That's the future. You can't operate in a vacuum, particularly in today's world. They must have eyes not just on the back of their head, but in the sides of their heads. And that's called situational awareness.
Can you just specify with these armed security operations? So is it armed security for all synagogues in Rockland County, for certain ones?
Great question. So working with Ed Day, we're in receipt of, just this morning, a list of synagogues who feel threatened.
Okay.
That's a subjective analysis. It's in Rockland County, correct. And that's the post order of the trucks.
Can you say how many synagogues that is?
I cannot.
But you're gonna be providing armed security to all of those synagogues? I'm a little confused.
No, so we're providing, we're volunteering a free service of armed officers, okay? Ex-FBI, state police, and detectives. They'll be going to these different, in a very, very menacing, omnipresent truck. This is part of it. This is how it works. So you hide in plain sight. And they'll be going in a specific cadence, driven by facts relating to prayer service, to a specific series of synagogues to help to deter a reoccurrence of the event of the other evening.
And those are the synagogues that have come and said, we feel threatened or we feel need for
Correct.
security?
100%.
Primarily in Ramapo?
I'm sorry?
Are these primarily in Ramapo, or are they throughout the county?
I can't say because it's been evolving, and it was evolving as recently as 9:45, so I don't know precisely where all the addresses are yet because it's growing. I'm sorry? Sure,
Yeah.
Ed's got that
Yeah,
one.
this will be, we're compiling a list, and I want to acknowledge Gary Siebser from the Federation, and also Rabbi Freed also is going to assist us in ensuring that we have a listing of all known synagogues so we can interface it with the effort that's being made by Browse Risk.
Mr. Brosnan, did I also hear you say that you're gonna be investigating the background of the suspect as well as providing armed security?
No, I'm sorry. What I stated was that it's a federal case at this time, by my understanding, I believe. I think it.
It's the local, let me handle this.
Yeah, go ahead, I'll let Ed speak to that, but we're not involved in that.
The investigation will not be done by a
No.
private concern. Right now, case responsibility lies with the Ramapo Police Department.
Okay, you were saying we will get to find out more about his background, we will uncover things.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking subjectively collectively of law enforcement will get to that piece of the onion where you get everything from the kindergarten teacher's maiden name up to what he had for breakfast this morning. And they will get that.
There needs to be an understanding, to make it very simple. The Ramapo PD has lead investigative authority in this case. They are supported by the state police, they're supported by county sheriffs, they've got a resource from other towns. The FBI is involved, there were search warrants executed. The goal here, and I speak to this as a former detective commander myself, the goal here is to find everything you can, because we want to be assured of certain things. We want to be assured, for example, that if this person is the criminal, if this person is the one who did it, that he is acting as a lone wolf. Is he acting with other people? Are there other threats out there? Look at the social media. Pat is speaking of a dynamic now that was not even around 20 plus years ago when I got out of the police department. The work that's done now, the digital work, social media, there are so many things that could be determined as far as it relates to motivation, actions, potential actions, connections, and these are the things that are being done as we speak now by the authorities.
Okay, one more question, then we'll break for one-on-ones.
Has the suspect been tied to the November 20th stabbing in Muncie officially?
Not that I am aware of. I mean, this question's come to me. I mean, common sense would dictate that, of course, law enforcement is going to look at any potential connection among and between any incidents that have occurred that have similarities. So that's just a given. I understand one of the local newspapers reported that the FBI is looking at it. Of course, they're looking at it. You would be negligent if you didn't look at the potential connection. So I'm sure that's being done.
Ms. Bay, just to clarify, I'm sorry, just to clarify real quick, I think it was mentioned a couple of times, the county isn't paying anything to Mr. Brosnan for this service?
This is gratis from the Brosnan Consultants, yes. Yes, Steve. One second. Sir. Steve?
You spoke about social media. How do you tone down, including yourself and your political campaigns, the heavy anti-Hasidic Ramapo rhetoric that's going on? I mean, where's the leadership coming to tone down people who support you,
Right.
support that one? At some point, who's stepping forward and saying enough's enough?
We can bandy about social media from now until doomsday. At the end of the day, from my perspective on the pages that we manage here in government and also my professional page, we have filters in there, we have administrators, we try to knock words out that are used. We cannot control thought. That is just not reality. What should happen, and this is something we've spoken about many, many times, when something bad happens, it's critically important that we join together as a community to ensure that people understand that we will not tolerate whatever violent acts are being done, whatever hateful acts are being done. But just as important is that we need to focus on the positive things that happen every day here in Rockland County. This is a wonderful county. And if we don't balance the two, we don't balance the positive things that happen in Rockland or any community with things that may not be good things. We're going to have a very skewed look at what this county is about. And I maintain to this day, my own experience here, living here since 1983, that this is a wonderful county with great people, okay? And we are going to have few people here. And I will note also that the alleged suspect isn't from Rockland County. I will note also, we talk about summits. There was a summit that was just done, outreach by Malwa was done in Ramapo. And right after that summit, this happened. So there is no absolute answer. What there is, though, is doing a meritorious and overly an aggressive effort to deal with the issues that come to our attention. Okay?
Mr. President, are your members volunteering your time, or they're being paid for this?
Sorry?
Are your workers volunteering your time, or they're being paid for this?
No, they're being paid. We're volunteering the services. Like I said, I live 8 minutes from here, lived in the county for 25 years, and I'm personally disgusted and appalled that this happened in my backyard, and continues to happen. Has continued.
Any one-on-ones that you'd like to,
All right.
any of the attendees?
Okay, thank you very much again for all coming.
Well, we've been listening into a news conference with Rockland County Executive Ed Day, coming just a couple days after that stabbing rampage in Muncie, New York, at a synagogue where 5 people were stabbed. The Rockland County executive called it very troubling and trying times, but he talked about an outside-the-box option. He says Brosnan Risk Consultants is going to be supplementing local law enforcement in order to give the people of Rockland County peace of mind. They're going to be donating their time and resources free of charge to the county. That includes armed officers of ex-FBI, ex-state police, ex-NYPD, going around in huge trucks to synagogues who feel threatened to help deter future attacks and future crimes, also using their vast array, they say, of technology to help deter future crimes again, all free of charge to the county. The suspect in this, Grafton Thomas, has pleaded not guilty to 5 counts of attempted murder. He is being held on $5 million bond. We will continue to follow all developments with this story throughout the day right here on CBSN New York and CBS2. Stay with us.